Speaking of up and coming YouTubers, want to give a big shout out to someone with her own Hellcat. All right. But let me just let you guys know, let you guys hear it from her. She has an excellent channel, The Security Boss. Now she already has one, but now she's starting a new one, The Security Boss Unsolicited. Let's just take a quick listen to her, another killer content creator.
Unsolicited. That's my new channel. That's right. Unsolicited is the place where you go find the things that you didn't ask for, but Security Boss will have the answer. This is to all my subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, The Making the Cut. But I got something for you over on Unsolicited. That's going to be the channel where you find, let me just say this. Over on Uncut, I'm always politically correct. On Unsolicited, you get more of Security Boss. You'll see the fast cars, the conversations, the interviews, and who knows what else. I want you to tune in there also. So go over there and subscribe. It's there now. It's Security Boss Unsolicited. Go subscribe to my new channel. And thank you guys for rocking with me, viewing my videos, sharing my videos, thumbs up, and all the comments that you have. Thank you.
Hey, Security Boss. Good to see you again. It's been a minute.
Hello. How are you all?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm definitely listening and taking notes on this conversation this evening because it's right up my alley.
Yeah.
And we're making it so difficult. And I'm not saying it is hard, but the first thing, Courtney, is you're getting pushed back on the history thing, because even with history, there should have been more accountability to what took place. Yes, right. The federal government put the drugs, the crack into our communities, but we opted to take the drugs and to sell them. It took our men out of the homes for men and women out of the homes for 20 plus years. But guess what? We passed that now. So now we're at a place where accountability is a must, and that's just where we are. So that's why people don't. Well, this is what I think. That's why they don't want to go back to that, because we're past it now, and we have to be accountable, because you don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to use drugs. That is a conscious decision that is made by an individual to do that. So that's why you're getting your pushback. But
let me ask you a question, because we're over that era. But do you not think that there's still ramifications of what happened then, what we're doing now?
Well, again, despite the ramifications, I'm all about accountability, so it doesn't matter to me. And then to go back a little further, in the 60s and 70s, Black men, women, marriage, that we were winning. So in the South, being married, we're winning. I have examples all around me of my dad and my mom still married, men everywhere. So when you're speaking to a large group of people like this, when you have people from the North and the South, they don't get that, because I didn't grow up that way at all. So it's hard for me to say, okay, that's an excuse. I got to accept that, because that wasn't my life. It's so many people that I know that did exactly what I did and lived in a house with a mother and a father, and they're still married today, living in a house together. But I agree. Yeah. So, and CJ, I think you're outstanding. I am so glad that you've come to this point in your life. You definitely are ready for a wife. But I do want to say to you,
I don't know about that.
I think you are, because you know now that there's not much you can control in that situation. And you know what? I hope you know what I mean by that.
I got you.
The major point that I think that we're missing is not every male or man knows how to actually be a leader. And that's where we're lacking. Now, we get all these different definitions for a man, his masculinity and all of that. And for me, that doesn't totally work for me. My husband as a leader is humble enough to know where he's weak. Does that make sense? He's humble enough to know where he needs me to help him.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like
what
that.
you just said.
I like
what
that.
you just said. That's my whole position. It's like I
like
understand what a woman brings.
That is that's a true leader, though. He understands that oh, my wife is better with finances than I am. I'm making the money, but I'm gonna let her put it in the right places as far as the way it's being spent is paying bills. Y'all know what I mean.
You can't play quarterback being 300 pounds, man. You got your job. You got to go block. I need a guy that's gonna throw the ball back here. You got your position. I agree, 100%.
But listen, that calls for humility. And when you're talking about masculine linity and head of household and leadership, I hear no humbleness in that. I mean, I even hear stuff like, you do what I say, you get on my program. What? That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's not. Well, let me say it differently. That doesn't work. Because I too have a purpose as his helpmate. And I have to be in that purpose, and only him as my leader can bring me to that. Yeah. And, not everybody is socially mature from the beginning. You have to grow and learn what you actually know and don't know. And that's where our upbringing comes into play. Like, did I get beat as a child? Was I molested as a child? Did this happen to me as a child? All those things could have happened as children, but if God gives you a helpmate, that's who you work through those things with. That's the person you grow and become one with. Now, I know people don't like to become in one, but that's really how it plays itself out. And that's not one meaning we look alike, we talk alike. It's I'm the one that he can trust. That's how it has to be resurrected. Now, when you say stuff like a woman doesn't know how to be a wife, I don't know if women in the past, because my mother did not sit down and have a conversation with me about being a wife. That never happened. But I saw her and I saw everything that she did. And she was a wife. She is still a wife. No matter what my dad did. Now, I'm not going to tell their story, but it is not a pleasant one all the time. But no matter what, she was a wife. Yeah. She didn't even learn how to drive a car till 40, to the age of 40.
Sounds like my grandma.
Yeah, so she was a wife. Now, I watched her. I had
had it made.
But there was never any conversations though where we sat down and say, now when you grow up, when you finding your husband, you got to do this and you got to do that. It's not that way. So I don't think that's real. I think when you make those vows on those principles, and when I say principles, I'm talking about godly principles. Right. I really don't see how it can work without those type of principles, whether you're doing it in God's name, Buddha name, whoever. You got to have principles that you make your covenant to. You got to have something that keeps you together outside of him and you, because we're not strong enough for that, because we flake out. We get selfish. We get in our way. I
think a lot of people forget that God said man is not supposed to be alone. We forget that part.
I do think we forget a lot, and it's okay. It's okay to forget. But if you're going into into marriage, though, that's a serious thing.
That's why I wasn't ready the first time. I was not ready.
Well, but guess what, though? Even in you not being ready, it's okay, because now you know, and now you know what to do. But I still, that woman, whoever she is, you still got to work with her. You still got to be married to her. It's not going to be a perfect situation. So all the things you think you know, you may not know. You might have to reapply and go back and read the books and figure out what to do. But whatever it is, you got to stay on your purpose as a leader. And I just think that women with a true leader, it's just not that difficult. Yeah, but it just takes a lot of humility to get there, and I don't think sometimes that men are willing to do that, because they're taught incorrectly on what a man should actually look like.
I agree with that to a point. I just agree with that to a certain extent, because a man can be a great leader in his, I guess in his own opinion, right? But a man can be a great leader and choose the person a woman that's just not ready to follow, like doesn't know how to follow. And I don't mean that in a lesser position. I just mean some women just feel that in our community that the way to go is to be combative. It's like, I just can't let him do what he wants. Well, that's not what it is. I've run into that in my life. Now, it's not to me it's not abundant because certain stuff I just don't tolerate. Like if you with the beers, you gonna have to roll with certain stuff. But sometimes we get in a position where I don't know, man, we can't even get through to some of our women.
I agree with you. But I agree with that. But that's still up to you, the leader, the minister, the man who's humble, the man who is submissive to what his role is to turn that situation around. It's just going to require you throwing up your hands and saying, I'm done with it, meaning the things that I'm doing are not working. Mm-hmm. I'm turning this situation over to someone else. But that doesn't require you. You can't walk out. You can't walk away. I think that's the problem. I think all of what you're talking about is a fear of that man walking away. Because all through, like Courtney said, all through the 80s, women had to adjust to not having those men there. They have to do what they have to adjust. They have to be the man, the breadwinner. They have to do all that. They have to raise the kids. They had to adjust. Now that they're adjusted, and if the men are still talking the same way, there's no trust, because the words that are coming out your mouth still saying the same thing. Or if we're still dabbling, with questionable habits, oh, he might be selling drugs again, or oh, he don't really want to work, or whatever the situation was, whatever that is that brings them back to whatever their mother experienced could be what they're actually experiencing now. So you have to be steadfast and say, listen, I chose you. Remember what I said, we don't all socially have it together or mature enough to handle what is given to us walking in the door all the time. If she doesn't know what it looks like to have a man present, accounted for, in charge, willing to accept the blows, then how would she know what to look for? How would she know that this is okay and safe? That's something you have to instill in her. You have to play that out on a daily basis. I'm here. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm here. I'm not going to run away from you. I'm going to stay here with you. We're going to walk it out together. You have to do, that's just what's required, because I'm going to tell you, women are fearful that the men are going to walk away. They're going to walk away. They're going, because it's happened. Okay, listen, I want to say this, y'all, before I forget. Going back to the last caller, I think it was J.I. or something of that nature. Mm-hmm. Right. His idea was, out there a little bit, because it really just takes some self-control or some self-discipline to take care of that problem. But on top of that, there's one man that was on the show. I think it was Ayana. Jay was his name. He had 36 babies by 15 women. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what kind of job or career Jay could have to take care of 36 kids, but more than likely, it didn't exist. Mm-mm. So, and these women were still not ready to walk away from Jay.
So you think, let me ask you this. Do you believe you believe basically that women will follow leaders, like no matter the situation?
Absolutely. Totally. But the leader has to be willing to say, this is it. This is the one. Because I think sometimes marriage is what you make it. It's not a given. It's what you make it. When it gets harder, you apply more pressure. When the pressure is applied more, you fall back. When you don't have the answers, you allow the universe and the energy to take over and allow God to fix the problem. But you got to have a principle that you're working on. You can't just, because if not, you'll get on YouTube and everything somebody says on YouTube, you'll take it and bring it into your household. Mm-hmm. And you'll be like, oh yeah, that'll work. Oh, with the red pill, the manosphere. And sometimes it's almost hateful. I hear the hate coming from the men and coming from the women. It's almost hate. These women such and such and such. I'm like, wow, what kind of women are we dealing with? Now, listen, on top of that, we really need to figure out who we're actually talking to also, because Big Mama and Leroy have been living where they living for all those years, and they've been fine. She's been running him. He's a simp, and they just love each other. She lets him get drunk on Friday, and it's just fine. And then you have that other set of women who think that they are having these babies, and they're manipulating the government, think they're manipulating the government, but it's going to turn around on them, and they're going to have some decisions to make also. They're not interested in being married. They just want that man in their house, in their apartment that they don't pay for, selling drugs. There's no need to talk about them being married. You're talking to women, career women, or women who had to make those adjustments, and then men who are career men who are smart enough to say they want to be a part of a family. That's who you need to speak to. It's not everybody, because
you're right.
I
And
get your
then
point,
people
but I
love their life.
respectfully
They love
disagree.
that simp life. They love that. So
right. And so the this is, you know, for people that are wanting marriage.
My daughter calling me.
Go ahead. That are wanting, you know, to get marriage back on track on how it was. These are the conversations that I'm trying to talk to, because that's what I totally believe in. Now, if you don't, and of course, there's a lot of people, of course, in the comments that don't believe it, and that's fine, but that's not who I'm trying to reach. So,
right.
Anyways, let me get some more callers. I appreciate you.
Right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.